shipped to every event.
Yep.
So we rent this from Dorna. We set it up for ourselves, and Dorna takes care of all the transport. So when we get to the next event, they just drop this trailer, and this is where the guys work for that weekend.
Wow.
So this goes to every single event. And what they do is they take count of the inventory they have here, and if they start to get low on some items at the next event, they ship the items. So it's wait for them in the hotel when they get there, and they just bring it to restock this. And they stock at the beginning of the year, and then keep restocking it throughout the year.
Okay, got you. And these suits, do they get repaired and go back out, or?
It depends. So like after every session, every rider has somebody brings their suits in, whether it's an assistant or somebody from the team brings their suits. A lot of times they bring their boots and their gloves. So they bring the full kit in, and then we do a check of all the suits as they come in.
Got you.
They connect the suit, they download all the data out of the ECU, they wipe the ECU's data, they check the ECU, they run a full diagnostics on all the systems to make sure everything's working. If they airbag deploy, they change the airbag or they change the canister depending on what system they have.
Right.
And once all that's done, we kind of review the suit to see if they need to change like knee sliders, elbow pucks, things like that, if there's any scuffs, any damage, anything like that. And then it goes right in the dryer. So boots, gloves, everything go in the dryer. It usually stays in here for about 20 minutes or so. Then once it's done with that, if they have to wipe them down or clean them, they'll clean them. And then they'll hang them here. Once they're hanging here, they're either ready to go or they're out of commission.
Wow. And how many suits do riders get? Five?
5 suits. Each rider gets 5 suits. Lower riders sometimes get, for the most part, almost all of them get
5 suits.
If you total 5 suits in a weekend, you're not going to have a job at MotoGP very long. So you can have a bad weekend, but you can't have a really bad weekend.
Okay, good to know.
Well, like some guys just crash and do some like slight. This isn't a structural seam. This is a cosmetic seam. This is just a white piece that's put on top of the blue piece. So the blue piece is what connects to the S1 panel. So this is the structural part.
Gotcha.
This is just an accent piece. So in the worst case scenario, we could put a new patch here. We can do a slight fix-up job here, but for the most part, we're going to take pictures of this, send all this information to Italy, ship the suit to Italy.
Okay.
And then when it gets there, they already know what the damage is, so they already start to make the parts, so they can disassemble the suit or reassemble the suit. If it's salvageable.
If it's salvageable, how long is that process?
For these guys, it's typically about 2 weeks.
Okay.
It's typically about 2 weeks because it's very streamlined for them.
And how many riders you guys have in the paddock?
This year, we have actually the most riders that we've ever had, to be honest with you. We have the most riders in GP that we've ever had.
Yeah.
8 riders in GP, which is, for us, is kind
Huge.
of unheard of.
Yeah.
Usually we average about 3 or 4, maybe 5 riders.
Okay.
So 8 riders is a lot for us.
Right.
But we also partner with 2 teams this year, which we've never really done before. We partner with riders. This year we partner with teams.
Okay.
So like the Pramac team is a partner team with us. The VR46 team is a partner team with us. So the VR46, both of their riders are in Dainese. One of them is in AGV. And then with the Pramac team, both of their Moto2 riders are full Dainese.
Right.
And one of their premier riders is Dainese from neck to toe.
Gotcha.
So he has his own helmet deal, but we take care of everything from the neck down. And then next year we continue that partnership depending the dynamics of that team. If somebody leaves, that person's going to have to be in Dainese as well.
Right. Is that kind of how the future is moving, partnering with teams versus riders?
No, I mean, you still pay the riders,
Yep, okay.
But partnering with teams gives you a little bit more bandwidth to do more things.
Right.
When you partner with a rider, he's your rider, but he works for that team.
Right.
So the team expects him to do certain things, and he still tries to do his contractual obligations with us. But when you partner with the team, now you can kind of do things on a bigger scale because the team is going to be telling the rider,
right,
you work with them, but we work with them, so we really need you to do this. And since that's what he works for.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, riders, they would love to say they just show up and ride. Riding is probably 20% of what they do, and media and other things are 80% of what they do.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm surprised that riders aren't more ornery than they are.
I know.
Because the amount of stuff that they have to do is a lot. I mean, they show up Thursday, they're already doing media events. Friday morning, they're doing media events. Friday afternoon, they're doing media events. In between sessions, they're doing a lot of talent. So
Yeah,
like
that's
Casey Stoner was not a media guy.
No, he was not.
And he hated like all the obligations of like, I gotta go this, I gotta do that. But he can ride a bike. So they kind of put up with that. Whereas other guys that really get into it, they become fan favorites.
Right.
Like Jack Miller loves doing that stuff. Valentino Rossi obviously loves doing that stuff. Alex Marquez loves doing that stuff. Like they endear themselves.
Yeah.
Like think about Jorge Lorenzo. Now that he doesn't race, nobody talks about him. But he's a great racer.
Right,
but
right.
he's never a great media guy. So the way you do your media, it helps the longevity of your game.
Right.
If you don't do media well, and if you don't do those other things well, you can be a great racer, but when you stop racing, you become irrelevant pretty fast.
Which is unfortunate. And how many riders you guys have in Moto 2?
In Moto 2, we have 5.
Okay.
And in Moto 3, we have 6.
Wow.
And we have a total of 9 people in AGV. Helmets are the hardest thing right now because helmet companies, their investment in product is very low, so their investment in paying people can be very high.
Gotcha. So
like for instance, he's doing a little on-site repair work.
yeah.
So like their collar snap or something might have broke, so he's making a new collar snap. So for instance, like a pista in a plain carbon fiber, we sell for like 15 to 1600 bucks.
Right.
If we have to give somebody a pista, every time we give somebody a pista, it's a lot of money.
Yeah. And I saw how many helmets would you give out in the same thing? 5?
We give 6 helmets.
Okay.
And then as they crash, we rotate out and try to keep them to have at least 6 helmets ready to go because they have to custom paint them and everything.
Gotcha.
So we give them the helmets, they custom paint them. As one of the helmets gets damaged, we give them another helmet, they custom paint them. So they take care of the custom painting part.
Okay.
And we just provide the helmets and the support.
Gotcha.
But again, like the cost on our helmets is very high. So the amount that we can pay you is not
As significant
as significant as like somebody like for what I give one pista, there's other companies that can give 5 helmets.
Wow.
So if they can give 5 helmets, let's say in a year they go through, one rider goes through 25 helmets. They went through 25 helmets, that would be the equivalent of me giving away 5 helmets the entire year.
Yeah.
So the initial allotment for me is more than what some companies given helmets for the entire year. And then, so obviously, and their overall investment is much lower. They don't have a trailer, they don't have, they're not doing suits, they're not doing airbag repacks, they're not repairing,
They're just
helmet
helmets
crashes,
only.
throw it away,
Yep.
get a new helmet, put a visor, so it's much simpler. So they have more funds to pay riders.
Gotcha.
So most of the riders that are out here now, the majority of their money actually comes from the helmets because the helmet companies can pay a lot more.
Wow. That's
Because
pretty
again,
wild.
the overhead in racing is much lower.
Yeah. That's true.
But we try to keep at least 7 to 9, sometimes 10 people in MotoGP, Moto 2, Moto 3 across all the classes.
The helmets?
Yeah, in helmets. It's just, I mean, we'd like to do more, but the expense of the helmet, it's in some cases more expensive than giving somebody neck-to-toe gear.
Right, yeah, no, it's the numbers of Moto 2, Moto 3, and MotoGP riders, you guys, I don't know, I would have thought it would have been a lot more than that, but it seemed just competition, right?
Well, it's competition, I mean, and you have to have a budget. You'd like to have everybody in the paddock, but realistically, if you have the right 3 or 4 in every class, like you're going to be on a podium on a regular basis, you're going to be in the media on a regular basis, especially if you have the right personality.
Right.
If you find the right personality, that's the person you want to go with, because even if they're a mid-rider, 5th to 9th place, like the fans still like them, they still have a lot of attractiveness to them and things like that. So like this is Jack Miller's suit. He just came in from warm-up, so he just ran through it. Downloaded the data, everything else. This is Tony Arbolino. He's one of our Moto 2 riders in the Pramac team.
Yep.
Then Izan Guevara is his teammate. So that whole team is Dainese sponsored. So that's a cool little setup that we have in there.
It's pretty dope.
Yeah.
You need to dry it like this in my garage.
Yeah. I mean, if you have enough suits. So inside baseball, these soccer balls is not because they're Italians and they have soccer. So sometimes when the suits come in, the riders, especially when they're new, the riders are like, it's a little tight. So what they do is they put the soccer balls in the arms and the legs and pump them up.
To stretch them out.
And put moisturizer on the leather and put it in the heater. And as the heater heats up, the leather stretches just enough where the rider's like, okay, that feels a little better.
Oh, no,
so we break it
okay.
in just enough where they're like, okay, now it's a little more broken in than normal.
Yeah,
And so yeah, soccer balls.
nice. Good to know.
Forearms, upper arms, sometimes chest.
Yeah.
We gotta stuff a lot of soccer balls in the chest. Upper legs and calves.
Okay.
We don't really get a lot of riders that complain about the chest so much, but like sometimes the forearms and the biceps. But yeah, that's our trick. And then we also have, I don't know where it's at right now, but we have a glove heater.
Okay.
So it's a machine that looks like a glove, and you put a glove on it, and you plug it in, and it heats it up, and you put moisturizer, and you actually stretch the glove on the heater. So when we give it to them, they're like, okay, it's almost like already worn a couple of times.
Wow. Hey, how much feedback do the riders give you or give these guys?
Well, they usually give us fitment feedback, and then if we're going to test something, we'll ask the different riders, like who wants to test this new thing.
Gotcha.
And then if the rider wants to test it, then we'll test with them, and then we'll get the feedback from them. Like, hey, how did this feel compared to the old thing that you
Gotcha.
had? So like if we use like a new armor, or if we use a new suit design where we're gonna make like the back panel a little bit differently.
Right.
But most of that happens away from MotoGP events. That happens at track days and at their practices and things like that. Like when you come to GP, like you gotta be set in stone. So we don't really do testing of new items here.
Okay.
But we do a lot of testing of new items like at track days and other things like that.
Nice.
So super, super important. I mean, that's how we continue to develop and redesign our things and kind of make it a little bit more advanced every year.
Right.
You know, we also assess all the damage that happens throughout the year to see where the damage is happening, to see where maybe we can change the panel from leather to textile to make it lighter and more movable. I don't know if it's coming this way. So yeah, so like these assistants come in and like grab these suits and whatever. I think that's Luca Marini's suit.
Yeah.
He uses the orange knee parts.
Gotcha.
And
All right,
Mir
because you
uses
guys,
yellow.
yeah. Because you have both those guys too.
Yep. Marini's still in AGV and Mir is now in Kabuto helmets.
Okay.
They backed the Brinks truck up to his house. Like they were like, take as much money out of him as you want. So Pietro is like my go-to guy.
Okay.
So he's the guy that coordinates with me in Italy.
Yeah.
To get all the races in the US their stuff.
Oh, wow.
So he's like the guy that like when I have to order something or I have a problem or something, he's the guy I connect with. And then he either provides us a solution or does something like that. So this is Johan Mir's suit, Kabuto.
Yep.
And
The yellow part.
yellow parts.
Wow. Yes.
And so like a real fast thing on the suit. So these suits, you can buy these suits.
Okay.
So this is called the Demone.
Yep.
But this is only available in the U.S. through our Custom Works program.
Gotcha.
And it comes fully custom. So you have to do custom fit, custom color. It's a blank slate.
Gotcha.
So you have to design it.
Yeah.
We can work with you to design it, but you have to design it because it doesn't come with a design. But this suit is the legit MotoGP suit. It's lighter than even our kangaroo suit that we sell for customers.
Okay.
And this one is like a one price fits all custom suit. So whereas our other custom suit, this is...
Yeah.
With the airbag, I want to say it's right at about like 17 pounds. Right
Okay.
about there. And it depends on the rider. Obviously, a smaller rider is going to be lighter, a heavier rider is going to be heavier.
Right.
But yeah, it comes in right between 14 and 19 pounds, depending on the rider, with the airbag already built into it. And for the price of the suit, I mean, you customize it, and it's a one-stop shop. Whereas with our other suits, you pay by the patch,
Right.
and you pay by the feature. So if you want custom fit, it's $700 something.
Right.
If you want custom colors, it's $700 something. And then if you want patches, every like transfer, like this is a transfer.
Yep.
These are like $40. and then like a leather patch, which this one probably doesn't have leather patch. Oh, Dainese in the butt.
Right.
This is a leather patch. This is going to be like $80.
Okay.
And then if you have like screen printed like this, so to screen print these two panels on a regular suit is like $250 on top of the suit.
Gotcha.
So if you buy the Dainese, it's you customize it anywhere you want. The price is all set.
Oh, the price stays the same.
So it doesn't say, yeah, so you
Gotcha.
can go crazy. So
Like
when
get,
we
get
have,
see-through?
so if you were to do something like this,
Yeah.
on a Dainese, you would pay the standard price.
Right.
But if you did this on a Magello, because remember, now we screen printed this panel.
Yep.
This is a different panel. We screen printed, screen printed, screen printed. Every panel is like $140 to screen print. By the time you do this side of the suit, you could have just bought yourself a Dainese.
Yeah.
So the reason for screen printing, especially on the GP rider suit, is to keep the weight down.
Okay.
Every
Rather than the
patch
leather. Yes. Yeah.
Adds a little bit of weight.
I was thinking. I was wondering why.
Every patch adds a little bit of weight. This right here, this so you can also change the interior color. So we have blue, yellow, red. We have like five or six different colors that you can change this to.
Right.
This is the worst color to change it to. Because this gets dirty, it's so impossible to clean.
Right.
It's actually easier to unsew it and sew a new piece in.
Really?
It's that bad to clean these. So
Valentina
at
Rossi.
Argentina last week,
Yeah.
or 2 weeks ago when they were there, all the suits came back destroyed because between the humidity, the bugs, and just the humidity caused the brake dust to stick to the suits. So as they were braking, the brake dust from the carbon brakes kick up
Right.
on these, and then to get it off of this cloth, even to get it off leather is hard. To get it off cloth is
I was gonna say. So in that situation, what do you guys do? Have
look
a
at some of
bonfire?
their suits. They're still rocking dirty arms.
Oh,
like-
okay. Okay.
So in practice, some of them are still
Still
rocking
rocking
dirty
the-
arms.
okay, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
for the race, they have the clean suit.
Got you. Got you. Okay.
And some of them now have black arms on the inside.
So, okay, so they could change it
Yeah.
and just to deal with it that way.
So yeah, it's a lot of really cool stuff, man. And then the most expensive thing to fix on these suits, believe it or not, for this suit is these plates.
Really?
Because these are titanium,
God.
and we don't buy in enough bulk to get a really great price. So
Right.
like these plates are like $80 a plate or $90 a plate. So this repair here, this might cost us $300 to fix, $400 to fix, and 100 of it is the plate.
Wow.
So it's less money in the leather and the repair,
but then in the
like
plate.
30% is the plate. But the reason obviously we use the metal plates is because metal has a super low drag coefficient.
Okay.
So when it hits the ground, think about metal hitting the ground, it just slides.
Yeah.
It doesn't snag.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to avoid. We want to avoid the snag because the snag can put you into a tumble, and a tumble is where you get hurt.
Right.
Outside of a high side, tumbles are what really hurt riders.
Yeah.
And so by putting metal plates on all the high impact areas, like the shoulder, now you're glancing.
Right.
The chances
Yeah.
of catching here,
And
when this
twisting.
used to be just leather,
Yeah.
like the leather hits and the leather has a little bit more drag coefficient, and it could cause that tumble. So now, it works with the armor on the inside. So everybody thinks like this is the armor. No. This is slide protection.
Gotcha.
The armor's on the inside.
Okay.
So this is designed to like bend, break, crack, slide, whatever it is. It's designed to do that. And then you just take the screws out, replace the plate, and ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
Has a soft velcro on the leg.
Oh, what's the difference?
These guys go through pucks almost after every session. If you put the soft Velcro on the leg over time, the Velcro starts to get weaker.
Oh, okay. So
we use the hard Velcro on these legs.
that's why they're using the screwdrivers.
Well, they shouldn't use the screwdrivers because they can damage it. But yeah, between using screwdrivers and constantly on and off, if we put the soft Velcro here, it would wear out within like maybe half a season.
Wow. Okay.
Because we have one guy here that goes through a set of knee pucks a session.
Whoa.
So most riders can go like
A couple of
a
sessions.
season sometimes with a set of knee pucks.
Yeah.
This guy goes a knee puck a session. Wow. Yeah. Even if we give him like a thicker knee puck, he would like go through it in a session.
They're just that heavy?
No, he's super light. It's just his riding style is very like leg down
Yeah.
to like try to keep a high corner speed.
Yep.
but without with lean angle, but more lean angle on his body than the bike.
Yeah.
But then his knee is the reference the whole time, so he's just like knee on the ground every corner.
Wow.
And he like, I mean, he's actually burned through knee pucks in a session and burned the suit because he just went through it.
Jeez.
Well, I'll show you. Let's go this way and go to the next door so I can show you. So this is our EGP helmet guy.
How you doing?
So he takes care of all the rider helmets. So what they do is each rider has a sack that has their name.
Yep.
So they come and drop off the helmet, and then he preps the helmet with everything they need for the next session. So, you know, make sure that the visor's working, make sure he has the tear-offs, have like a rain setup ready to go just in case it's ready to rain. So when the rider gets there, like all they have to really do is grab the helmet specific to the conditions.
Right.
So they have a dry weather helmet, and then they have a wet weather helmet.
Okay.
And then some of them will have 2 dry weather helmets because they might go out and do a sighting lap and something about the helmet they don't like, so they'll go to the garage, come back with another helmet.
Wow.
So that's why sometimes you'll see they'll grid up and they'll leave the bike on the grid and go back to the garage.
Okay.
And sometimes they go back to the garage to tell the mechanic something about the bike, like, hey, you know, you don't want to say it on the grid because the guy next to you might be listening.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I saw something, you know, hey, change the, you know, on this sighting lap, you know, let's do this and do that. And sometimes it's to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Right. Gotcha.
But other times it's to like change the helmet.
Yeah. And then are you guys changing the pattern on the inside and everything too?
No, so we have dryers.
Oh shit.
So the helmets go on the dryer, the helmet gets dried up, but we know the pads that each rider wants. So we make sure the helmet's set up with the pads and the thickness that they want.
Gotcha.
So once we know what their base is, then he pretty much does that. So that gasket that he's putting across the top of the helmet now,
Yep.
that's the waterproof gasket.
Oh, okay.
So the visor's already waterproof, but at these speeds, they add an extra layer of waterproofing to that. Just to make sure like there's no chance. Or like he'll go through right now, he's cleaning the glue off of it.
Yep.
To clean it, to make sure it's nice and no smudges, no nothing, as pristine as it could possibly be, to reset it up.
And how much wear and tear does a visor have before you replace it?
If it's replaced, it's done.
Yeah.
Usually if they don't go through both tear-offs, you can get a good amount of sessions out of a visor, but if they go through both tear-offs, then that visor is pretty much done.
Wow.
So they have 2 tear-offs. The first tear-off goes right to left. The second one goes left to right.
Okay. Oh,
So
okay.
most of them, you'll see when they get to the grid, as they grid up, they'll take the first tear-off out and throw it out right before the race starts.
Got you.
Because when you're racing, you don't want to take your hand off the throttle. Grab the tear-off. But now, you take your hand off the brake.
Yeah. It's almost like a waste for the sighting lap, right?
Well, the thing is, you want to start the race as prepped as possible.
Right.
So let's say in that sighting lap, you hit a bug or a butterfly. At least I want to start the race
as
quick as possible.
Yeah.
And then let's see how far I get before it's too bad where I have to take the second one off.
Got you.
And you got to think about that because
they have to go. They have to go from opposite side, right?
Yeah. So you're not gonna go.
Yeah, you're not gonna like that.
You're gonna go this, start the race, and then start with a clean tear off.
Wow. That's pretty dope.
And then depending on the rider, like we put their logos or any like sponsorship that they need to put on their helmets.
Okay.
In like certain rain conditions, what he'll do is he'll take clear tape and cover the vents.
Okay.
So because the way the piece is designed is you put a plastic insert in the vents, but there's it's not efficient and it looks bad.
Right.
And especially if it's painted like this one, you don't want to cover it with a plastic cover.
Right.
So what he'll do is he'll put clear tape over the vents so it blends in, but it's waterproof now because the water's not getting plastic clear vents.
Wow.
So like he's got an Oakley sponsorship, he's got to have an AGV logo on his thing. Now he'll do the tear offs left and right.
And is it if rain got in through the vents, it'll just create more moisture and fog up from the inside out?
I mean,
or?
when it's set up for rain, see this visor up there? That's a rain visor. So
Okay.
if you look inside of it, it also has a specific type of pin lock
Okay.
that is that we make ourselves, and it glues to the inside of the helmet.
Oh.
So it creates that double pane glass inside the helmet. So that's like a fully set up rain visor. It's got the interior pin lock. It's got the gasket across the top. Like this is a legit ready to go rain visor. And like this guy didn't use any of his tear offs. So he's just gonna like look them over, and if they're garbage, throws them away and starts from scratch again. Cleans the helmet, dries the helmet, preps the helmet.
Gotcha. Oh, so you can tear it off, and if it looks good, you can put it back on. It's not like a sticky film,
Very rarely does he put them back on. It's usually, it's dirty, throw it away.
Wow. It's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, man. He usually does the European rounds.
Yeah.
And then, but these guys are the troopers, man.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. A lot of work, though.
Let me ask you. Let me know if